and avocado and salsa.
Internet.
Hi, Internet.
And
Hi, Internet.
some fried rice. Hi, Internet. I was
That all
just telling
sounds-
everyone what I ate for lunch.
That sounds really good.
And fried rice?
Ooh,
You're-
next, tell me your dreams.
You're the new Instagram / Twitter for me. That's what Twitter
Really?
used to be.
Well, so here's the thing. So when I make rice, I always overdo it. I don't have a rice maker, so I do it stovetop. And even when I'm like, yeah, this isn't that much, you know how it ends up being so much more rice than you're actually going to eat for dinner. So I always have a ton of rice left over. But
Well,
you don't
that's the
want to
key.
leave it in the fridge for all that long. So then, yeah, you like twice fry it for breakfast with like egg and, well, this is what I did today, egg and avocado and my favorite salsa, chilena. Tom, you have to get this salsa. They have it at Ross.
Okay.
And la chilena. And
La Chilena.
and what else did I put in there? Sour cream and there was something else. Oh, and some arugula that I had to get rid of. And it was just sort of like a breakfast / lunch, more of a brunch slop in a way, but it was so good.
I mean, the idea
Not
of making
AI
rice
slop,
is-
breakfast
Not
slop.
AI slop, real slop that I ate.
Yeah.
Do you
Well,
want to
the
do a rice
the
cooker
the rice,
for live with
no.
it?
Maybe.
Ah,
That could be interesting because I know Roger's like, how do you not have a rice cooker?
Yeah, how do you not have a rice
With a
cooker?
rice cooker, you just don't. It's one and done. And I'm like, but it's not hard to make rice.
No,
on a
it's not
stovetop.
hard, but it's convenient. There's a lot of things
Yeah.
that are
The,
hard to
No,
do.
I know.
the key is the set it and forget it, right? The ability, because with the stovetop, you always have to go back and check.
Yeah,
right?
no, you
With
you
the
have
rice
to be
cooker,
lingering for sure.
yeah.
And if I make a lot, I eat rice.
And if you
the
don't have
entire
10
week.
minutes to linger, then I guess, that would be really cool to be like, yeah, just, rice is in there. It's fine. It just got made by itself, like a bread maker.
The wire cutter recommends the Zoji Rusi, which is the brand we have, although this is a different sub-brand, different model, I guess, than what we have. But the upgrade pick is the Cuckoo electric pressure rice cooker that cooks rice fast.
Because
Now,
it's also
electric
a
pressure, so
cooker.
it's not even stovetop. Well, I guess
neither
none
of
of
these.
them are.
Yeah.
Duh.
Sang says get the Cuckoo, really, already. Huh.
Interesting.
So is that like the Instapot then? Like because the Instapot's
No.
like half. No.
No, I guess it's got some similarities to the Instapot because of the pressure cooker thing, but
Yeah,
it
the
is very
yeah.
it's much more like it is meant for rice. Is I guess
Got it.
where I'm going with
now,
this. Whereas
this
the
is
Instapot
a
you can
dumb
use for-
question,
Well, it's-
Lots
but rice, at its very simplest form of being cooked is like rice and water. But I often do like chicken stock.
Yeah.
When I cook my rice just to make it a little bit more
Yep.
savory. And I might add like some shallots or garlic in there. Is that all fine in the pressure cooker or the rice cooker
Yeah.
too?
No, you
Yes.
can do that.
They don't
I've
care.
done that.
Absolutely.
I used to
Yeah.
do that all the time.
Just need liquid. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
what's in the liquid.
Okay.
6 cup enough for you?
6 cups of rice?
Yeah, 6 cup
Yes.
maker. So you can make up to. You wouldn't
So
need to
that's-
make more than 6 cups ever.
Yeah.
No, that would last me a week.
That's what I was thinking. That's
up
what
to
I was
freeze it.
assuming.
Yeah, no, I'm not like. I mean, when I talk about having rice with my eggs in the morning, it's like it's not even a cup of rice. It's like it's rice to kind of soak up the stuff.
Yeah, but if you're gonna make rice, you may need to make enough to eat for 3 days.
Well, no,
Roger's take.
that's the point that I was making is I always have leftover rice
But
because
That's
I
what's
make it
great
for
about
dinner
rice.
and then I have it for leftovers. But then you can make it yummy.
but
and
it's starch.
different and
You can add
breakfasty.
anything to it.
Yeah, but her
Totally.
point is, and my daughter does the same thing, Sarah. You make the rice as you need it with the amount you need on the stove. It takes like no time at all. So I kind of see where you're coming from. Like it isn't that hard to do it. Rice makers are really nice because it's set it, forget it, walk away, keep some for later, all that.
Yeah.
But if you're like,
I mean,
I have to
it
cut
is
down on that kind of
true
stuff.
that
I think we should put it to the test.
I
Let's put
mean,
it to the test.
listen, I'm
No, I
Asian,
think
so I'm eating rice
Li-
every day.
Well, and I don't eat rice every day, but I eat rice. I mean, several
Almost
times.
every day.
I'm making rice all the time.
You'll
And
get it tomorrow.
I'm very. Wow, really?
Yes.
Jeez, I just spoke it into existence. All I had to do was talk about my lunch. That's awesome. I'm
See,
excited
folks?
about this.
This is what happens when you let us talk about lunch.
Not only do I live with it, but I also eat.
Yeah.
She
eat
also
with it.
cooks
Now
with
that is fun. That
with
is
it.
fun.
That
Truly
could be a
living with
spin-off
it.
show. So
But
it's
also,
just,
I mean, just
Oh.
to be, to be fully transparent.
And Adlerful gave us a super sticker, so that goes towards paying for the rice cooker.
Nice.
there
Thank
you go.
Nice.
See, it takes a village.
Yep.
I definitely, even though I feel like cooking rice on the stovetop is not hard, you do have to hover. And I also have like gotten called away, and then my
Yep.
rice,
Then it
it's
burns.
just like
Yeah.
all disgusting at the bottom of
Yep.
the pot,
Yep.
and it takes forever to clean it. And
Rice
that's
cooker
just-
never burns.
nope. Unless you add
How
no
does
water.
it not burn? It just sort of goes like, we're done.
Fuzzy logic.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
If
it
you
just
had
knows
enough-
when it's right. Yeah.
You don't need fuzzy logic. You add enough water, the spring-loaded mechanism will pop before the time it burns. It's fine. It's fine.
But what if you
Just don't get the
overwater
ones
it?
with the Teflon coating. Just get the stainless steel ones. They're fine. Also,
because
you
the
can
Teflon
double.
is not
You can
supposed to be
also
good for you.
use it as a steamer. So if you need to steam or reheat food, I often find it's better than
You can make
microwaving it.
oatmeal in it.
What?
Yeah.
Stop this.
You
Yeah.
can do
Well,
yogurt.
I actually don't cook oatmeal. I do overnight oats, but
You
Ooh,
could
I
do
like overnight
kanji.
oats.
You can like cook rice with a lot of water, so it ends up being a porridge.
what
and you can
about
eat it
like
for breakfast.
what about like
2 minutes.
I don't know, like meat? Would you cook meat?
Yeah,
in
you could
there?
Yeah.
you could make meat in it. I'm not sure what the best uses are for meat.
I mean, this
But
is not
yes,
something
you
I
can.
need really because I've got the June oven for that's kind of
Well, it
how
depends.
I cook all
Are
my
you-
meat
if-
these days, but
If you want to braise it, then you just cook it in a pan, and then you just kind of
or if you just want to do like I don't know, steamed broccoli.
Yeah, you can
Oh, I've
braise
done
meats
that.
like spare ribs. Yeah, you can
Fun.
steam vegetables in it.
You take
Okay.
you take out
You can cook a whole chicken, but you have to have a
take a-
bigger one.
You take a rice bowl, you flip it upside down,
Has to
and you
fit.
put it in there, fill it with water.
There's some big rice cookers that you could put a chicken in, but we don't.
Oh,
have
I'm
that.
sure. Yeah, we
My-
we don't have to get crazy. Sarah lives alone, but yeah, no, this is fun. Let's put it to the test.
Yeah.
Oh, then you could combine
right.
it with a George Foreman. So the George
Well, I'm
Foreman.
glad I
thing-
ate my leftover rice already today. We'll start from scratch tomorrow.
That's right.
You could do your like little Sarah Lane infomercial, like right.
Nobody
like,
doesn't like Sarah Lane.
Nobody doesn't like Sarah Lane.
You can have a
George
line of
Foreman grill, but
you-
a rice cooker that I also did not make.
basically it's cooking implements
that.
if you for people
Rest
who
in
don't
peace.
have a stove, right? So it'd be a rice
Oh.
cooker, pressure cooker, crock pot. I mean, that's really just an Instapot, but
I mean, that's actually the funny part of this is like I have a perfectly nice stove and oven, but I don't know. I like
30
my
seconds.
I like my June oven. I make almost everything, and I rarely
can you use it
rarely
after
fire up
June?
my-
Can you do
my
it in
big
August?
oven. What's that?
So you can use it in August.
Haha. Yes, you can. You can use it all year round.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
You can do
It's
Insta
hot-
hot pots.
Ooh, I'm having hot pot tonight.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm going. Kim and I are going to go to this new place, try it out. I'm excited.
Hey, Delau?
Have a
No,
good
it's-
show, everybody.
Good day, Internet. This is DTNS Live for Wednesday, July 30th, 2025. From Studio Animal House, I'm Sarah Lane.
From Studio 7 in Los Angeles, I'm Tom Merritt.
From the Frog Pants Studios in Salt Lake City, I'm Scott Johnson.
And I'm the show's producer, Roger Chang.
DTNS Live is made possible by you. Thanks to every single one of you, including Jim Hart, Mike Akins, Norm Fazekas, and a bunch of new patrons. Welcome Jacob, Quochoy, Robinson, and Jonathan.
Yay! 4 new patrons in one day.
4 new
Come on
patrons.
now.
4 new
We are on
patrons.
a roll at the end of
Yeah.
July.
Heck yeah.
We really are. Yes, thank you one and all for being with us, and thank you to everybody who is joining us for DTNS Live, the show where we discuss the tech news to help us all understand it a little bit better. Scott Johnson, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. There's a lot going on around here. A lot going on.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'll give you some stuff
Prove it.
later, but basically I had to meet with some hotels, and that was a pain.
Oh.
Working with hotels is a pain. I'm just
Not people who work at hotels, the actual hotel, the building.
the actual building and the people
It's
representing
weird
the building.
because they never say anything back. You're
They
like,
just sit there
"Are
like
you
a pile of
hearing me?"
bricks. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just event planning
It's
headaches.
like talking
but it's
to
all
a brick
good.
wall.
It is a little like that, although in some cases they're stucco. But it all kind of works out the same. I'll tell you more about that a little bit later, but it's
All
been
right,
a very
I'm
eventful,
intrigued.
busy week. Yeah.
Did you make any decisions this week? Can you tell us that much?
No, there's
Okay.
enough
All right.
there's enough to go on to say
right.
that something's definitely happening. There you go. How about that? You like that?
When you're down.
Something's happening in the hotel space, and
That's
Scott
right.
has more later.
Yeah, more later.
Hospitaliano.
You won't believe what the last one is.
Yes, in a world. Roger Chang, how's life in your neck of LA?
It's all right. It's a little warmer than I would prefer, but hey, it's summer. What can you do?
I'll trade you.
I
It's
mean,
100
yeah.
here.
July
100 degrees
30th?
Is it really? Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Yeah.
We're not even breaking 90 on July 30th. I ain't complaining. It is warmer than it's been in a while though.
Yeah. Well, if you are watching us live or listening, you can name this episode. Head on over to dtns.showbot.tv. You can submit subtitles as we go through the show and talk about all sorts of stuff and vote on titles that others have submitted and you think should be the crowned winner of the show. We'll check back
Karen.
in
Vote
on
for
the
Karen.
votes at the
Name
end
it
of the
Karen.
show. Vote for Karen or vote for Pedro.
Sure.
That.
I like that reference.
Yeah. Thank you.
I
Thank you.
understand that reference.
It's been a while. It's been a while,
It's
right?
been a while. Yeah.
Good movie. Let's kick it off now with not a movie, but real stories that caught our eye today.
Just a reminder that Microsoft Authenticator will stop working on August 1st. You might even be listening to this on August 1st, in which case, too late. Stopped working. Microsoft will delete all the stored passwords in Microsoft Authenticator as a security measure. It will let you continue to keep passkeys in it, just not passwords. So if you don't want to lose them, you'll need to install Microsoft Edge, log into your Microsoft account there, and sync them to the Edge browser's password manager, because that's where they're moving it all to.
Google says it will sign the European Union's voluntary general purpose AI code of practice, which encourages developers to align with the AI Act ahead of mandatory compliance. New rules targeting systemic risk AI models take effect on August 2nd. The code requires transparency, respect for copyright, and compliance with data usage opt-outs. So
Take that,
basically,
Meta.
Meta's like, we're not signing this unless we have to. Google's like, no, we're going to. So basically, this is getting ahead of something that you would be it would be mandatory for you.
Yeah,
in the
right.
future.
It's the EU would like you to show your good faith by doing this. Google says they changed enough in the final draft of the guidelines that they felt comfortable with it. Meta still doesn't.
You think that's just them that just hold off until, I don't know, it doesn't hurt them to hold off, right? Necessarily, unless they start to get sued into compliance.
I suspect it might have a little to do with regulatory capture, where Google's like, yeah, we can pay the cost to do all this compliance. And if you are losing money, a lot more money on AI like Meta is, maybe you won't want to pay that cost.
Oh, yeah. See?
Speaking of Google and governments, the Australian government says that YouTube will be included in its social media ban for those 16 years of age and under. Now, under the ban, teens can still watch YouTube videos, but they cannot have an account, so they won't be able to upload or interact on the platform. Google has said that YouTube benefits younger Australians, and it does not consider the platform to be social media.
You can't stop it from going into their eyes.
No,
They can still watch it.
Yeah.
They just can't have an account.
That does sound insane to me. That
Well, basically-
YouTube would not be a social network. It very much is.
It's very social.
But it's not. I don't think of YouTube as a social network. I think of it as a place to watch videos.
It is,
And
but
then
it
talk about
includes-
them and share them amongst yourselves.
Yeah, but
And
you
it
should
On
includes-
share
social networks.
you're
Yeah,
not
it includes
sure.
a
Well,
bunch
I
of-
mean, in comments. And,
It's got a bunch of
on YouTube
membership
itself.
stuff. That's what makes it that for me, because you can actually create membership programs where you've got private areas where you can have discussions, you can start topics, they can comment on those topics. It feels pretty social.
I think
mean,
those are
your
things that
definition may
arguably
vary,
you
but-
might want to age gate if you want to age gate, but I don't know if that makes it a social network to me. Maybe I'm the weird one though.
No, I mean the problem is the definitions are loose.
Part of it is the platforms are constantly adjusting to meet the demands of what they consider to be the market.
Yeah. And there have been times in YouTube's history where they went, you know what, this needs to be more of a social media experience.
I mean, iTunes went through that too. I don't think that
true.
makes Apple Music a social network, does it?
No, but when they were
LinkedIn.
doing Ping, you could argue that Ping service was. It
Ping
just didn't last.
was trying to be. I don't think it was ever a social network either, but that was just because it failed.
Well, that was it.
It wanted to be a social network.
Yeah.
Well, it wanted to have a deal with Facebook that fell through, and it was like, well, what do we do with this? Quietly sunset it.
Oh, I didn't know that was a deal with Facebook. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Or was it supposed to be?
We did a top 5 on it.
Oh,
You should listen to us. They're really
Yeah.
handy.
Where
1 minute, you
been,
learned the
Scott?
world.
Come on.
I'll go back in time and check that one out.
The host is a
Well, you
very
learned
congenial guy.
Yeah, I
from what I
agree.
understand.
I've heard
right.
good things about him. Yeah.
Those are 3 top stories that caught our eye today. Ahead of Meta's Q2 earnings, which are going to come in any second during the show. I was hoping it would come in right before the show, but that is not the case. That's how live shows work. But talking about Meta, CEO Mark Zuckerberg published a kind of vague memo laying out Meta's vision for personal superintelligence, promising it would help individuals pursue their goals and improve the world. Sounds great. Many would say, okay, how exactly does that work? Not very clear. The post, which was on Meta's official blog, coincides with Meta's aggressive AI hiring spree as of late. We've talked about this, including a $14.8 billion investment in Scale AI and some major talent poaches from companies like Apple and OpenAI, among others, amid delays in Meta's own Llama 4 model. So I don't know if anybody read I wouldn't call it a manifesto necessarily, but just the Zuckerberg sort of like superintelligence is the way, and we love our AR glasses. And people are sort of like, and what are we talking about exactly?
I mean, this is just a blog post and wouldn't mean anything if it wasn't Mark Zuckerberg making it. It's Zuckerberg writing it that puts all the eyes on it and tries to figure out what's really going on with it. It's pretty unremarkable through most of it. The part that caught my eye, though, was this is distinct from others in the industry who believe superintelligence should be directed centrally towards automating all valuable work, and then humanity will live on a dole of its output. At Meta, we believe that people pursuing their individual aspirations is how we have always made progress. So he seems to be drawing a line in the sand that there are people out there who want to centralize things and regulate them. And then there's Meta, who's all for the little person. I think he's doing a couple things here. He's softening the ground ahead of the earnings report so that when they show how much they're spending on AI, he's explaining why. And he's getting it out there in the public consciousness. But he's also sending a message to stockholders of the reason we're doing it open source, the reason we're doing it the way we want to do it is we want to put it in the hands of everyone, and that's going to be more successful than centralizing it like those dorks down at OpenAI are doing.
Outside of that softening of the ground, which I agree with, it is a little bit more consumer focused or a little bit more individual focused. Obviously, they're calling it "quote unquote" personal superintelligence. Depending on how you define that. I found a couple of definitions of it, by the way. There are 3 that I could find. Speed superintelligence is a system that can think much faster than a human. Collective superintelligence is considered a system that is made up of many individual minds working together for more effectively than humans. And 3, quality superintelligence, an intelligence that is simply better at thinking, more insightful, creative, or capable. One of the problems with all of this is nobody knows whose definition anyone is using. But my takeaway from this is he's saying individuals have the tools to do what they individually may need to do, whatever those tools may help them do. We'll call it super, whatever you want to call it. But that seems to be the goal, is to aim this toward everybody, which feels like a very consumer-focused way of doing this. I don't know if I agree with him that they've always done this sort of thing. I would argue Facebook was a weird happenstance and mistake, and I don't know that they've done anything in there that makes me go, they did it for the little guy. That didn't happen, in my opinion. So I think he's talking nonsense.
We made a book
there.
full of pretty people's faces at Harvard for the little guy.
Yeah, we started a hot or not clone for the little guy. None of that stuff it doesn't hold water with me. But the idea that the future of AI is in individual hands is something that resonates with me personally. I would much rather that be somebody's focus than we will house the great CPU and you will suckle at its feet, or whatever. I don't care about that.
I mentioned that Meta's earnings were coming in, and they just did. So just looking at, this is what Meta is. This is not parsed from any publication, and certainly not us. But as the numbers go, Meta is up. Revenue is up 22% over 2024. Net income up 36% over 2024. We've got some income from operations, which is up 43%. And we will circle back on this as much as possible. But in general, it does not look like Meta is suffering all that much from AI investments, at least in this latest earnings report.
Yeah, and what's going to happen is they're going to look at how much they're spending. That's like, here's how much money we took in from the businesses that are working, but they're going to look at, like, what are you spending on Reality Labs? What are you spending on this AI decision? Why are you giving so many billion-dollar contracts to people to work on AI when you're behind? And I think what Zuckerberg's trying to get ahead of here is I am getting people on board who think like me, and we want to empower people. Stockholders, that's going to be our message. That's a message that's going to work. People are going to pick it up. They're going to like that. And a lot of others are saying, like, AI is for industry. AI is for the enterprise. AI is for making things work better so that people don't have to work better. And Zuckerberg's like, you should decide how you want to work with the tools yourself. And I thought it was interesting that he is creating that dichotomy as his marketing message for this.
Not that different than what Apple does with stuff. It's like, not to make this an Apple story, I really am not trying to do that, but they have a similar bent when they go, this is about your security. This is individual. Right. This, like, that's a method that works. It resonates with people. They feel like they're not being talked to by
which is odd, because you always think of Windows as being like the individual. You control your settings, whereas Apple is like, no, you're doing it wrong. We'll take care of everything for you in the office.
Right. That is actually a strange reason for them to exist the way they do. But it's still, I like that.
We've talked about so much consumer use of AI on the show. We have to. We can't get away from it. And so, yes, the enterprise, obviously a big, big place for this. But just yesterday, we were talking about, how certain models are good for students and not necessarily a bad thing. Can make students feel smarter and help them learn more quickly, not replace their brain at all.
If I were to guess, I think what Zuckerberg would say is, that is an example of the centralized version. OpenAI made the tool for you and said, here's how to study, use our tool. And Meta is going to let you make your own study tools. You're going to let you build your own things, if I'm interpreting this correctly.
I mean, if I were cynical, I would just say what Tom said earlier. I think it's just.
Imagine Roger being cynical.
No, it's marketing speak. It's the.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, any blog post is. I think we take that. That's not a criticism either.
Oh no,
this is not. Like, what is he actually trying to say, and who is he trying to say it to? Because the fact is, Zuckerberg's not an idiot. And so the criticism of like, well, this guy, he's so self-indulgent and stupid. It's like, well, no, he's not. He's doing this for a very particular purpose.
Yeah, and I'm as always, the proof is in the pudding. So I'm curious to see how this super intelligent manifests itself within the aegis of Zuckerberg and Meta's capable mitts.
Yeah. Everybody's talking about superintelligence being close. That's the part where I get a little more skeptical. I'm not saying it's not close, but I think the folks who work closer to these products get a little bit high on their own supply sometimes. And it reminds me a little bit of autonomous vehicles, where they were so good and they were making such rapid advances that the people who worked closely on them couldn't help but think like, we're only a couple of years away from autonomous cars everywhere. And of course we haven't been, but we've made progress we're getting closer now. I think that's what's happening here is people are like, we're so close to superintelligence, and it's going to be 10 years, but we will get closer to it. Just maybe just not as fast as they think.
It's like weight training, right? If you've never done it before, you can get some pretty rapid gains as you start, but as you get toward the end, toward the limit, it takes longer and harder to gain just a little bit more. And I
Well,
think
and also when
that's
you turn 55, it just takes longer to do everything. So.
Can
True.
confirm.
It's a plateau. It's not because we're old. It's a plateau.
That's right.
Well,
That's
you know,
right.
from what I hear, once you
actually
go
both.
down the other side, you begin to pick up speed again.
I will say this with this story and
fine.
all these stories, and like every day you guys have some AI stories. It's just inevitable right now. It is the thing that is dominating
Gotta do
tech
it.
coverage.
Yep.
I picked a real bad time to catch up on Foundation. It's just a little side note because it just is all the doom and gloom of be careful, the future is scary and robots are this and that. I'm just saying, if you're worried about AI, don't go watch Foundation. It'll just make it worse for you. That's all.
I mean, I
And don't read Isaac Asimov or Philip
you know,
K.
and I mean,
Or-
actually, no, I
unless
would say
you-
read Isaac
you-
Asimov. It's a little less threatening than this series.
Yeah.
You also might be saying like, I want a robot overlord. So
Yeah, maybe. I don't want to
just-
speak for everybody.
Maybe it'll make you
that's
feel
what
good.
I always wanted. So cool.
Sure.
We're here.
Chips,
Yeah. Tell me
all
what to
that
do,
stuff.
robot. It's fine.
As long as my dinner's made.
Rice cookers. Yeah. How do they work?
That's
We'll
who
find
your-
out soon.
I mean,
We
that's going to be
will.
your AI overlord. It's going to be the rice cooker.
There you go.
Okay. Well, speaking of AI, because we're gonna keep this train running in a little different vein. Sensor Tower released some estimates on AI app usage, and not a big surprise, ChatGPT up front. But Tom, what else did they find?
Yeah, so Sensor Tower gets people to agree to let them monitor their app usage, and then they're able to kind of extrapolate from that general trends. They say that folks downloaded generative AI apps 1.7 billion times in the first half of 2025. That is compared to 1 billion in the second half of 2024. So it is on the rise. Revenue on the apps is also rolling in. Revenue on AI generative apps doubled in that same period from 932 million at the end of 2024 to 1.87 billion dollars in the second half or the first half of 2025. The area of the world that is adopting this technology the fastest and has the biggest market share is Asia. Now, that in large part is because of China, but it's also because of India. Asia has an 80% download growth rate. Number 2, Europe. Yeah, you heard me right. Europe grew 51% and North America grew 39%. However, North America, making the money, has the highest market share for revenue at 40%, and Latin America is the fastest growing for in-app purchases. So North America and Latin America have the spending and the money. Asia, Europe have the adoption. ChatGPT, as we mentioned, leads in downloads everywhere except China. And people spend the most time on that app. Users average more than 12 days per month in the ChatGPT app. And if you're like, that's not even half a month, that's because there's a lot of people not using it at all. So it brings the average down. But by comparison, people use ChatGPT about as much as they use X and Reddit. Only Google has more average days of use per month than those three. People also are downloading Character AI, Polybuzz, DeepSeek, and Perplexity in that order after ChatGPT. So a lot of this stuff is not productive. It's not superintelligence. It's, I want to flirt with a chatbot. And so I get Polybuzz or Character AI. A lot of other stats in here. A lot of them just about how popular GPT is, ChatGPT, what people use it for, and that sort of thing. But does any of this surprise y'all?
A little. The Google being just barely more usage surprised me. Obviously,
Yeah.
Gemini probably way down the list. You didn't even mention them as a standalone thing. So it's funny that Google remains here with the search and way down there with their
ChatGPT
chatbot.
closing the gap with the search apps for
big
sure.
time. You can definitely feel that going on. Was Grok featured in this at all? Did we
No.
get any? Okay, interesting.
No, it was Character AI, Polybuzz, DeepSeek, and Perplexity are the other four in the top 5 behind ChatGPT.
I'm curious to know the in-app purchases in Latin America, because that was the one stat that I found surprising. The fastest growing for in-app purchases.
And
Right,
in-app
it's like
count
what-
count
like, yeah,
as
like,
what?
What are we? Yeah,
like
what are
buying
we
credits to do
Okay.
to do more instead of buying per month, you're buying tokens as you need them would be one
Like if you're
example.
using the AI capabilities of CapCut, you will spend in-app money on those tokens or on those points or whatever they're going to call them. So I could see that happening, but I'm wondering, I guess none of those numbers would count as subscriptions, like subbing to a higher tier of
it
GPT
could just mean that Latin America just pays as they go more often versus just trying to get an unlimited situation like you do with an annual subscription.
More common in Asia as well for that.
The
sort of thing.
ChatGPT thing being the leader, not surprising. ChatGPT feels like it's like the Kleenex of AI.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
First
it's
is
like
best in this case.
you have
It's the Google of AI.
Yeah, there you go.
That's probably a little bit closer to the comparison at this point. But it's like you have so many options, and not all models are the same. It's like, do you use ChatGPT or do you use Perplexity? It's like, well, what do you want to do? And I think a lot of people are just sort of like, not necessarily super technically inclined, but still modern people, who have access to the internet 24/7. And it's like, oh yeah, you use ChatGPT. And even, friends of mine who are, I would not consider tech people. They say like, oh, like ChatGPT. And I'm like, well, yeah.
That's one.
But I mean, there's a whole pool of, of models and competitors, and some do, better things, that have to do with coding that wouldn't apply to you. But ChatGPT is also not the only one that would apply to sort of just kind of standard real life stuff. Yeah. And I think we're getting to that point now where everyone is like, yeah, so ChatGPT, that's what we need, right? And when I say everyone, I'm talking about not us, not people who are listening to the show.
It's got the brand recognition.
Brand recognition, exactly. They're the Kleenex of AI models.
Yeah.
And Alexa's talking to me now. And I said something weird. And
Kleenexa.
she's like, excuse you, what about Amazon? But
we have AI too.
But as we go forward, I think this will become more interesting. I think none of these numbers really surprised me, just because these are, everyone's sort of like, yeah, let's get into AI, ChatGPT, right? So that would be definitely the front runner. But I wonder what we'll say in another 6 months.
If you look online at the discussions happening, you'd be forgiven in thinking like, oh, there's a huge AI backlash. People hate it. But when you look at the actual download numbers, everybody's using it. Even if they're saying they hate it.
Or at least giving it a whirl, right?
Those people are just forgetting how online they are, and they're forgetting about a larger conversation that's happening outside of these social networks. But the part that did surprise me, Tom, was the low, I mean, I know these are big numbers, but this is low amounts of revenue compared to the spend that we're seeing. The spend on these things, the money ChatGPT alone, OpenAI alone, has to invest, has to spend, is always scrounging money for, just to maintain, stay on top, improve their models, release new apps, blah, 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 is way beyond a paltry $1.8 billion in, revenue. That's not enough.
But we're always just, that is a criticism always leveled at an industry at the beginning. People said the exact same thing about search. They said the exact same thing about music streaming, social media as well. When's Facebook ever? Remember they were going to make money, when's Facebook going to make money? Like that just happens when an industry is young and growing. Mm-hmm. If they never outgrow their expenses, that's a problem. But we're way too early in the cycle to be able to tell if that's the situation or not.
Yeah, I don't want to suggest that that's the case. All I'm saying is it is eye-opening to see how little revenue there is at this stage, when exponentially many more billions than that are being invested across the board. Just crazy.
The only counter I would say is like, you just don't, you have more coverage of the cost that OpenAI spends on this than you did of how much Google was spending in its early days. And it probably would have made your eyes water back then too. That said, I don't think you're wrong that this is a bigger spend than most of those in the past.
And there's a real race going on, and I know that existed with the search engine world and everything else really in the history of the internet, but what's different this time is first is still ahead, that being GPT, kind of the first name to be recognized. Everybody else is playing catch up, where in the Google case, they came along later and wiped out the Jeeveses and the Altavistas and everybody else who was trying to make that work. They, and Yahoo as the big example, and just sprinted past them, lapped them. That doesn't seem to be happening this time. So that's a whole other aspect to this. I think it's interesting. Who's going to, if someone's going to do that, who is it going to be? They'll all claim they're going to be the one, but who's going to do it?
Is ChatGPT Excite or Google?
Right.
God, Excite. I haven't thought about that in a while.
Remember that? Lycos?
Yeah. Because Excite was the leader. Like, oh, Excite, it's really good. Or maybe Alta Vista. But then Google, just came out of nowhere. Like, is ChatGPT the one coming out of nowhere? Because we didn't really have an established marketplace for this stuff. It's the first. It's
definitely the, it's sort of it's the
Yahoo.
Yeah, I guess.
I hope not for their sake.
I also, a part of me, and I think this is maybe just because we're talking about legacy stuff, where it's like you have to have that cool name that just, it just works for everybody. And, Excite, Yahoo, well, Google was kind of weird at the time, but, we all got used to it. But ChatGPT, when it first started to catch on, I was like, they're going to change it. They haven't.
No.
And at this point, it's like, maybe they shouldn't. But it's like ChatGPT doesn't.
It's hard to say.
They're almost lucky that it's stuck.
Yeah.
I think
just
it's
doesn't.
become.
It's like nobody in the marketing department was like, you know what? Let's rebrand this.
Oh, the marketing department was not even involved in the launch of ChatGPT because it was just a demonstration model. They were like, who cares what it's called? Nobody's going to use it. And they were surprised.
Yeah.
I think
and
it's
maybe
become
now
ESPN.
It's kind of too late.
Yeah.
Nobody knows
leave
what
it as
ESPN actually stood for. No one cares. When you say ESPN, you hear sports. When you say ChatGPT, you hear AI.
Yeah, I think it's the genie's out of the bottle on it, and they may as well stick with it. But yeah, Tom's right. It was like a nonprofit then, and nobody was thinking about. It was a very technical name.
Yeah, it was like, let's have a bunch of people use this model and see where it goes, and then it took off.
Yeah, everybody else is getting all fancy with Anthropic.
I think ChatGPT could be Yahoo. Yeah. And we don't know who Google is yet, if I'm right about that.
Yeah.
Or this is not not in any way related to those. And ChatGPT is Windows, and it's just going to come out of the gate and just dominate everyone from almost the start. Although there are a bunch of other windowing
ChatGPT
machines.
Introduces recall.
Yeah.
Let's not break the metaphor.
I feel like it's like they're already there in some form, depending on what you want them to use it for. But yes, all right. Well, Well, congratulations to you, ChatGPT. You are the front runner as far as AI app usage. But there are others, many others.
And Russell, watching us on LinkedIn, wants to know if ESPN stood for something. It stood for the Entertainment and Sports Programming Network.
Yep, it did.
That makes sense. But I wouldn't have known that off the top of my head.
Most
It
don't.
might still stand for that. I have no idea, but nobody cares. If you're watching us on YouTube live stream, do us a favor, click on that like button, please. It will help us. And if you haven't done it already, also subscribe to the channel. We want more people to know we're out there streaming, and you can help us by doing that. So like and subscribe. Hey, I just made that up. It's pretty good, huh?
Smash
Yeah.
it.
I've never
Smash
heard of that
those
before.
buttons.
Smash those buttons. I like that too. Good one, Sarah Lane.
Wow.
Game exclusives have been a staple of the console business since it first started over 40 years ago. We are so old. But that seems to be changing as evidenced by Xbox's shift in strategy. Xbox is not the only one, though. Scott, I know you've been following this.
Yeah, big time. So the TLDR, go look that one up if people don't know what that ESPN-like name it means.
I hope you know it.
I definitely do. Anyway, it is the long-standing era of console wars that I think we may start to see the end of. The final battles are being fought. Perhaps a truce is on the horizon. Basically, that exclusivity that you see in the console world, it's starting to loosen up a little bit. Here are the bits of this that matter most in terms of what just dropped. Helldivers 2, which is a massive cross-platform hit for Sony. Cross-platform because it was on PC day and date as it was on PlayStation. Some controversy around that we won't get into today, but it wasn't an easy launch for them. They had some issues. But I think that actually probably is helping them learn how they're going to be doing this in the future. But that game is now headed to chief rival Xbox platforms. That's both good for the game and I think going to be good for Sony. We've already seen the reverse work really well with the sales numbers we talked about last week of Forza Horizon 5 selling extremely well on the PlayStation 5. In fact, the best-selling game of the year on that platform. So let's see how it goes the other way. It has the potential of being rather big because Helldivers 2 has a huge following and is a very popular game, still on PlayStation and still on Steam, doing very well. Sony is making specific hires right now to publish across platforms. Now, you might think, does that include the Nintendo? Probably. Nintendo would be happy to say, hey, you're now a third-party provider of games. That's great. We take anybody. We'll take Microsoft games. We'll take your games. That'll be no problem. The reverse of which, maybe we'll get into that in a minute. But both industry dynamics and consumer demand are sort of pushing us toward a more open multi-platform future. And I think this is finally starting to be visible. Because prior to this, it's a lot of like, well, I wonder if, and maybe this will happen, and a lot of predicting going on by people like me with certain assumptions in place. And I think we're finally starting to see it happen. And we'll finally see console wars sort of fade into the background as kind of a weird idea from the past. Think about the day you learned that they were making a Mario and Sonic at the Olympics video game. And you went, I'm sorry, Sonic the Hedgehog and Mario the Plumber from Nintendo are in a game together. They're cooperating. Somehow Sega and Nintendo dropped their swords and did that. And the answer is yes. The impetus for that, though, was that Sega failed miserably to win that console war and extend itself through the next couple of sessions of console wars. So they were happy to, just have people do their stuff, and now they publish everywhere. So it's not exactly the same thing. Nobody's at a sword's tip at the moment. Everybody's kind of invested in a different way. Nintendo's in a very weird place. Microsoft's in a strange games as services place, and Sony's still trying to wave the flag of, big AAA exclusives. But Roger, I know you follow this industry a lot as well. Do you think Nintendo jumps in and says, "Hey,
No,
we're down"? You don't think so?
no. Nintendo has always staked its claim that its hardware was part of the experience, right? If you understand that Nintendo has started out as sort of like card playing company, but as a toy company more broadly, that experience, I think, is what they're trying to maintain. So I don't think they'll loosen their IP because they don't see the software as separate from the hardware. It's an integral half of the entire package. Whereas Sony, as an electronics company, yeah, maybe our consoles don't sell it, but we have IP that we can still leverage and make money off of. Same thing for Microsoft, right? With Xbox, they're a services, software-oriented company. Hardware is just tangential, right? That's sort of the plate you serve everything off of. So it really makes sense for Sony and Xbox to kind of do this because really at the end they're chasing more eyeballs where Nintendo really just we have the experience, right? You go watch a particular movie in a theater because you want the experience. It's not just about soaking in the story, you're soaking in the drama or whatever, because then you could do that at home or you could watch it on your phone. But Nintendo is very hardcore in that. I think at some point, though, that the whole idea of having a walled garden around these sort of vertically integrated models that console games have lived off of since they started is slow. I mean, originally it was there because hardware was differentiated enough from platforms that you couldn't easily port over a game from one system to another and have the same results. It would be like, well, yeah, this sort of looks like some version of Donkey Kong, but this console has the best version. We're at that point where I don't think you can really say like you have a better version of the game.
Yeah. Also, we're living in a time where the regionalization of this content is also much looser. It used to be if you lived in a certain zone, you lived here in the North American area, you could only get your North American version of the game to run on your North American version of the console, and you couldn't swap back and forth with European versions and all of that, even just in the English market, let alone all the other markets. That's changed. It's much more universal now. There's a few exceptions, but most of it is pretty universal. And I agree with you that Nintendo's whole thing is one package, and it's two phases. It's their hardware, whatever their play is for that generation, and their games. I think you're right about that. And the only thing to crack that egg and have them play in this sandbox with Sony and Microsoft they're currently in is for a massive failure from top to bottom. They would have to lose harder than they did with the Wii U. It would have to be catastrophically bad for them. Right now, they're not having that problem. In fact, they had the best-selling console in North American history for the first quarter of sales, or first 2 months, or whatever it is, of sales for the Switch 2. They're showing no signs that they're going to have any trouble this generation. But if they had a real failed generation where it was just plain obvious to everybody that PCs and consoles were all sharing in the same place, and really it was just a matter of what machine do you feel like buying, or where's your budget at, and the games are just all there and you subscribe to it or whatever. Let's say everyone does that. There may be a time in the future where Nintendo's model can't sustain, and they have to join in. I don't know. I don't see that for a long time for them.
Do you think it would happen the other direction first? In other words, if Nintendo were ever to crack, it would let you play Sony and Xbox games natively on Nintendo devices versus letting you play Mario on a PlayStation.
Well, that is that is happening and will happen. So that is a thing they're already opening the door for, and they're going to be playing. See, this used to be a third-party publisher that had nothing to do with hardware, but now Microsoft owns the Call of Duty series. They own
basically what I'm asking is Xbox Cloud gaming coming to Nintendo.
I mean,
I see what you mean. Yeah,
and you know what's interesting about that is once you get past the fact that Nintendo, like Disney, has really leveraged the nostalgia for its IP for a long time, there's going to be a point in time where you're going to come across a generation where it's like, I remember playing all of these games on just this one platform. They will no longer be able to differentiate between what is kind of an in-house and what is a borrowed or purchased.
Well, yeah.
IP.
If you look at like their stuff they've done on mobile, they feel like watered down throwaways. They don't feel like Nintendo magic, and they're not
Nintendo
badly
doesn't
made.
really. They begrudgingly make mobile.
Yeah, they weren't happy about that. The mobile market surprised everybody, them included. And they had to take part in it, but I think they look at that and go, yeah, I'd really rather not do this. And then I think players look at it and go, well, that's kind of lame, and those aren't as good as your native games. I think there would be a bit of that. Certainly there would be backlash from fans, but there would be a bit of that, more so than with Sony or Microsoft. You've already proven that the PC market is ready for their games and people are happy to have them there. I think there's just a different culture around Nintendo, internally and externally.
Nintendo is very, we're different. We're very precious. We do things our own way.
Yeah.
They've always been that way, right?
Yeah.
So so to dilute, and I'm using air quotes, from the company's perspective, is like, we're gonna lose control. It's gonna get weird.
But
so I totally understand where Nintendo's coming from, but at the same time, it's like, well, look at your audience.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's their bread and butter. They really can't lose that, right? Like if Disney started losing its core IP that they couldn't use in their theme parks, all these things they've built around it are integral to the whole. So you can't really just Jenga your way out and say like, oh, I can just pull this piece and we'll still have the whole. I mean, at some point it will tip over. But I don't think Nintendo will have that issue because it is a unique experience. What I think is really pushing a lot of these platforms is game development's expensive and it takes a long time. And really, if you cannot try to soak up every bit of revenue that you can, you are going to lose on the long term because you're just going to bleed out money in a way that your competitors are a little more flexible. I don't care what you play on as long as you pay me for the game. I don't care. They're going to be around. Now, it might not be the most glamorous looking, arrangement, but I mean, does it matter?
If Nintendo had softer sales of Switch 2, I think there may even be talk of this by now. But they did so well out of the gate, and they seem to not be slowing, and that Donkey Kong game is a monster hit. I don't think this slows them at all, and we're still talking about Nintendo being weird in 10 years while everyone else is homogenized a little bit. We'll see.
And honestly, if they do well with the Link or with the Legend of Zelda movie, they're going to be on a really steep climb for the next 8 years.
Yeah.
The Peaked Geek wants to know if Disney owns the Jenga IP, so I looked it up really fast.
Yeah.
Hasbro has the license, but Pokanobe Associates owns the Jenga IP.
Wow.
Interesting.
So
What else do
Pokanobe.
they own?
Yeah, do we know them from
Nothing
anything
else.
else? That's it. The
Nothing
Jenga
else.
Empire.
Actually,
let's
no,
hope-
that's not true. I think they have a few other board games, but Jenga is definitely their bread and butter.
Wow.
They have another one. Well, they have many versions of Jenga, but then also one called Swipe.
Wow.
Huh.
Is
I've
it
never
like a
played
physical
Swipe.
Jenga game? But
Yeah, these are all like physical
Wait,
board tabletop games.
But you
yeah.
swipe. Oh, interesting. Yeah.
All right.
How
Nice.
very modern of them. All right. So Microsoft's plan to transition some of their user base to ARM-based machines running Windows 11 got a recent shot in the arm, as it were. Roger, tell us more about this.
So Adobe is releasing Windows on ARM versions of Premiere Pro, After Effects, Audition, and Media Encoder this week as public betas, which means that there'll be, that means there won't be full fleshed out versions of this software now. What will be interesting is that all these beta versions, for example, in Premiere Pro, won't have full third-party support for full support for third-party extensions, raw video files like ProRes, or hardware accelerated playback or export of H.264 HVAC files. Although Adobe plans on including them in future releases, but they will still leave out things like loudness radar effect, the export to Raptor DCP, import export GoPro, basically some sort of edge use cases for a lot of people. But this got me thinking, like Microsoft has really been pushing the Windows on ARM as a substitute or as a surrogate platform for an Intel based or x86 version. But at what point does the software need to be that ecosystem need to be there where people can feel comfortable, like saying like, I run all this software, but I have a bunch of legacy stuff that I run as well, and I need to continue to run that in order to run my business. Now, if you're in a corporate environment and they just give you an ARM laptop because this is just what the division's going to use, and it does everything we need it, just live with it.
When Apple went to ARM and Silicon, it's not the same situation, obviously. This isn't a thing where they're saying, we're changing it, and within a year we're phasing out the x86. They're not doing that. But in that particular case, it's funny that initially it was Adobe who jumped on board and said, yeah, we'll make our apps universal. We'll make it so they'll run on the Intel Macs. We'll make it run on the new stuff. I think that's significant that they're willing to do that. The bigger software partners who file in and go, yeah, man, ARM architecture, we're into it, the faster this gets adopted. And I'll bet there's some secret hope at Microsoft that they'd be like, that'd really be great if we all moved in this direction. There's some really cool stuff happening with those chips. We don't want to be married to x86 for the rest of eternity. Like, it's a big ask, but I feel like this is
this is the idea. In my mind, their plan is they want to be able to be in a position where they can dictate the hardware that they couldn't do before. Before, when the people talked about the Wintel duopoly, it was always sort of a kind of a nod, like, okay, we want to do this, and then Intel's like, all right, we can do this with the architecture. We'll introduce it, and then we'll sort of come to some arrangement where this works interchangeably. But if Microsoft can gain, which is weird because they're being so loose with Xbox, but if they can gain sort of advantage with the hardware, I think they hope to gain what Apple does with controlling the entire hardware, software, and services stack. Yeah, I think
they just want flexibility. I think they want, because with ARM you can use a lot of different kinds, not just Qualcomm. You're not limited to Snapdragon, and you can still support x86. Like, I feel like it is consistent with what they're doing with Xbox of like, let's make it so that you can run Windows on lots of different kinds of machines, and let HP and and all the rest make different kinds of machines, and then people can pick the machines that work the best for them.
I would agree with you, if not for the fact that there aren't one-to-one replacements. For example, with Adobe, they're including a bunch of features. Granted, not all these are very again edge case tools that.
Well, these are betas. They're going to have all the features by the time they hit full release.
No, they won't. They are leaving out certain features in the full release versions as well.
That's not what I read.
It literally.
So you
said
have different information than I do.
I'm reading based off what Verge posted that they are leaving out features like the loudness radar effect, export to. These are things that they're not going to have in the final version of release for for ARM. But I mean, again, these are not what 80% of people who are using these software tools are going to use. So I think they feel very confident that it's not going to impede them. But I think there's always going to be a feeling of, well, if this one, even if people don't use it, they're always going to feel that, oh, this is a lesser version. This isn't the full experience. How do you convince people to come over, or at least feel that, like, this is the exact same thing?
Well, you can run everything in emulation, so most people won't miss anything. And only the people who push it to the highest end will miss the performance hit because of the emulation, which is exactly what Apple did. And they got such a big performance boost from switching to ARM that most people didn't notice. You don't get as big of a performance boost with Windows on ARM, but you do get some. So I look at this and I'm like, most people are going to buy a chip and not even know it's ARM underneath. And for most uses, you won't need to know whether it's ARM underneath. You'll just know it was cheaper and it ran faster.
Yeah, that's most people.
I don't know. I'm skeptical because you're running. Apple really forced the issue because they said we're not making these anymore. We're not making Intel-based Macs anymore. So you had no other option. If you lay out these two, if Microsoft says, hey, we're moving over to ARM and we're going to stop supporting x86 as of whatever release of Windows 11 or whatever, I can see that working. But if you have, I don't know. I think that they ran into this issue with RT. Although because RT was really cut down, Windows RT is that you cannot run these dual at some point you have to make a choice. I mean, you either throw in your pot with one or the other.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. That's possible. My takeaway is a little bit in between. I think it is a lot like their Xbox strategy, if I'm honest about it. Tom said this earlier, but what would Microsoft want the most? And the answer is our stuff to run as often and as frequently on as much stuff as possible. So if you can run, they've always wanted to be more of an embedded chip company or an embedded software OS company where your fridge ran on Windows CE or whatever we were doing back then. That never really worked for them, but Windows as the chief operating system choice for anybody using a computer with whatever chip they have. Think of the chips as consoles. It's like, we don't care what chip you have. We just want to run Windows on it. I think that's just the general attitude over there.
Yeah.
About their current services and software. But
I mean,
and
really,
it allows them to do flexible things
Mm-hmm.
like the ROG Ally and stuff like that to be able to say, like, oh, we can run Windows on a lot of different kinds of ARM-based machines.
Right.
I mean, what they really want to sell you are the services, right? That's why the Windows seems to be omnipresently free, regardless of what state you are in the upgrade path.
Yeah, and they'll say, hey, guess what? You're buying a ROG Ally. We want you to buy Game Pass. They don't care.
For consumers.
They really don't care.
Yeah. Mostly what Microsoft wants is companies to buy Azure. That's where they're making the money these days. Yeah.
Yeah. Big money there.
Well, everyone, we always like your feedback on anything we talk about on the show. And in that vein, let's check out the mailbag.
This was a funny one. Sean wrote in, we were talking about Cash App yesterday on the show, said, it's nice that Cash App is continuing to innovate. Now, if they could just make sure people are paying the right person. I snapped up a 3-letter cash handle. People love sending me money since I must pop up early in their search. I've had this phone for 6 days and have had at least 7 people try to give me money. I never do anything, and eventually the payments fail and revert back to the sender. It's funny that there isn't a 2-step verification or people ignore it when sending me money.
Okay, so this is funny, Sean, because I've had the exact same experience as you. There is 2-step verification within the Cash App settings. I'm going to guess that lots of people don't know or don't care
just
about
click
that.
through, right?
Yeah. And I have had the same situation where it's like, okay, it's not hard to find me on Cash App. And I was kind of early, so I secured my username, and I occasionally will get like somebody trying to send me $50, and it's like, I don't know them. It's for nothing. Doesn't make sense. They obviously were trying to send it to somebody else, and I always I leave it alone.
Yeah.
And then eventually it will get retracted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Deborah has canceled her $50.
Ah.
Oh,
You thought
shit.
Deborah was just like being a good Samaritan, sending $50
imagine
to
if
people
I
who
were
might
to
need
be
it.
like, imagine if I were to be like, accept, and then like, oh my gosh, what a headache that would be, because then it would be a whole.
Well, how
thing,
many
like-
people have run into that where they accidentally sent it to the wrong person, that person accepted, and then you're out? It's like,
Yeah,
well,
I mean, what
you
do you
sent
You're
it to me.
either out, or then you have to go through the company and try
Yeah.
to do
Yeah,
some
but
sort
But
of, you know,
once
like
you've
he
sent
said,
it
she
and it's
said
been
type thing.
accepted, there's no go through the company at that point. If you sent it and you verified, yes, this is the right sender,
you are just
that's
a
on
switch-
you. The
Yeah.
fact Zelle makes a big deal about that,
Oh, yeah.
right? Like, are you sure? Because once you send this, you cannot get it back.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I feel like there is with Venmo, they have a thing where you contact and you can do that. I don't know how successful that ever is, but
I
But it
think
has
what,
to be
what
in a-
Venmo
It's
does is
sorta-
they reach out to the other person and say, hey, they sent this to you by mistake. Can you give it back?
it,
And
it
then-
may be all they can do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the thing. Like, the only thing really stopping you from taking the money is your conscience. And so, I mean,
That's right. And
yeah,
I like Sarah's conscience. She just
yeah,
let that
I
thing
mean,
expire.
And
hey,
Sean's.
And
Sean and
Sean.
Sarah both.
Sean,
both
you're
of
a
them.
very ethical
Yes.
person, and I think you're one of the
Yes.
many points of light
We're
that lead
we're
humanity
on
forward.
some upper echelon of.
But
consciousness.
Honestly,
Yeah.
if most people weren't like Sarah and Sean, this would be a problem. But
Yeah.
it's not, because
Most are.
apparently people do this a lot, and most people are like, "Yeah, it's not meant for me. I'll just
mean-
let
Well,
it
and
expire."
and also, okay, so going back to Cash App specifically, it's like like I'm at Sarah Lane. I'm at Sarah Lane on everything on the internet, as much as I can be. But people will have kind of weird handles, and that's fine, whatever. We're all used to this in our social media landscape. But there are times where I'm like, is that the like maybe I'm paying somebody who did some tree trimming for me, or plumbing, or whatever. And is that him? Is that her? I
Yeah.
think it is. So it's not. You're really trying to do your best to be like, I think I'm paying the right person. So this stuff does happen on these apps. But Cash App is not alone. Venmo has done the same thing to me before, where I once paid the wrong housekeeper for something.
I mean,
And,
there was that little Zelle scam. I don't know if it's still going around, but basically there was this whole thing like, oh, we paid you too much, and they would ask you to Zelle. It was a very elaborate thing to basically for you to fork over money that.
Oh yeah, there's
weren't
millions of
deserving.
examples of those kinds
But-
of scams.
but,
and,
I mean,
and-
really,
and
it's just-
in light of the publicity around that one, Zelle tightened things up a little bit, thankfully.
But yeah, just double check on who you're sending money to, and and the worst case, call them to double check, which I do.
Call them, Roger. What
Actually,
year is
I don't know.
this?
Do you do this when I get a new person who's going to pay me? I just say, send me over $1, and then like I can see whether, or send me like $1.63, and then I can tell it's you.
That's never for me. It's never anybody unless it's like, I don't know, a farmer's market, or we're all at dinner or something. And everyone's splitting a check or something. I've never had it where
You
it's
know,
like a total
at that
stranger.
point, I'm just saying, you know what? You all buy me lunch sometime in the future. Just give me the check because I want to go home.
Well, I want to have lunch with you then.
All right.
Yeah, sure.
Send me $1.
Sure, I'll
You're
get you
done.
back.
You get a
at some
Costco
point.
hot dog. You get a Costco hot dog, and they come with free drinks.
$1.50 though now.
Honestly, if I'm being honest, let's just go to Costco and eat lunch.
Let's
for
go.
free.
Why not?
Just
I-
walk
I'm
around,
down for-
get the free
Honestly, if
food. Waste
they
your
did
$1.50.
this- No. If they had
just
the
just a little sample of everything, yeah, and you're
if
full.
if the American Costco had the same stuff as like the Japanese or the British or the French like Costco commissary, I'd be eating there every day.
I didn't even know there were different kinds of.
There are. Have you not seen the YouTube videos of the like the
No, I
sushi?
haven't.
Oh my god, so good. I mean, it looks good. I haven't tried it, but visually it looks appealing to me.
Interesting. Okay, well, we've learned a lot today about sending payments to each other, and also which Costco's are the best. If you have thoughts on anything that we've talked about on the show, whether it be food or technology, preferably both, send it our way, feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. And of course, if you are a patron, you can chat with other patrons on our Patreon with anything that we post. Lots of lively conversations in there as well. Scott Johnson, we love your lively conversations. We welcome them every week. Let folks know what you are doing in between your time with us.
Well, usually I promote a show or some other thing I got going on. Right now, I just want to let anyone who may have come to previous events, we did 10 years of annual events called Nerdtacular here for the Frog Pants Network. Tom Merritt was just one of our many hosts and producers who came to that thing, and we entertained, we laughed, we cried, we had a great time. And we're doing one next year. Don't know if it's going to be a regular thing or not, but we're going to have a big blast. Make up for the 2020 one we couldn't have because of the pandemic. That was the plan originally. So what I want people to do, if they went and are interested in going again or checking it out for the first time, it's just a quick little survey, nothing crazy. You don't have to give a lot of personal information or anything. It's over at frogpants.com/nerdtacular, just like it sounds, is how it's spelled. Just fill that out real quick. There's some fun pictures in there, including some stuff with Tom and a few other folks. I think there's even a Roger photo in there somewhere. But anyway, I would love it if you would go do that. It would help us build this event next year and have a better idea of the kind of services and things we're going to do. So huge thanks if you're able to do it. Again, that is frogpants.com/nerdtacular.
During the show, you have been submitting titles. Thank you for doing that at dtns.showbot.tv. As requested, Vote for Karen is leading the votes. Thank you, Nick with a C, for submitting that. We also have rice cookers. How do they work? From Zoe Brings
We're
Bacon.
going to find out soon.
That's right. We are. Stat GPT from Batfit 2001 is pretty good. The Kleenex of AI, another good one. Thank you, Larry in Atlanta. The Legend of Zell, duh.
Nice.
I love it. I totally
That's
missed
really
out. That's so
That's from
good.
Batfig 2001. It's got these are all with 4 votes. In-app, spend it all about. Put your right foot in.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Took me a second. I got it.
What is that flavor? What flavor is that pie in Zuck's sky?
Oh,
From Fred 819.
sour apple. I don't know.
Sour apple.
No, it's fine. I don't know what Zuckerberg's pie tastes like. I don't know what he would bake. Probably rhubarb and not do
I
it
don't
enough.
think he
I
would
don't
make
know.
Oh,
anything,
rhubarb
but
would be good.
Rhubarb pie is very good.
But also dangerously poisonous if you don't do it right. See, there's the metaphor. See,
I
think
mean,
it would
the poison,
taste-
it doesn't kill you, right? It just gives you an upset stomach.
I'm pretty sure it would taste like arrogance.
see, no, there you go.
So
I like that.
So is
What's
that
the most
al dente,
wait? What is
or-
the most arrogant pie, Tom? You're a pie expert.
Rhubarb.
What's the most
Rhubarb's the
arrogant
most
pie?
arrogant.
Is it?
Okay.
Rhubarb
No.
is the most arrogant because
I
it's
think
like,
I
come
agree.
at me. I'm a vegetable. I'm in a pie. People
Yep.
love me, but you won't.
Yeah,
I
no,
was-
Is
I'm-
rhubarb
honestly-
a vegetable or a root?
It's a
good
root
well.
vegetable,
Isn't that, yeah.
Okay.
like a
Fine.
carrot.
I think
No,
a root is
the
a
most
kind of vegetable.
the
no?
most
the root of
arrogant
all
would
evil.
be a Boston cream pie because it's not even a pie. It's
oh
a
my
cake.
gosh, it's a cake. You're right.
It's a cake.
It's like
Well,
showing
that's
up
like
at
we were talking about cheesecake, which is a pie, but they call it a cake, but it's a pie.
Yeah,
It's
no,
like-
it's totally a pie.
Yeah.
It's totally
It's
a
like
pie.
showing-
you slice
it's-
it like a pie.
I don't know. I think cheesecake's a taco. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I still say
Get
Boston
out of
cream
here,
pie.
Tom Merritt.
Boston.
Sarah, what title should we pick?
This was a tough one because we had so many good submissions, but we went with E. Clay Thomason's Meta AI for the little guy.
Oh, I like it. Good job, E. Clay Thomason. Big
Yeah,
thanks to everybody.
if you're a little, you know, like a shrinky dink. Remember those?
Yeah, or one of the littles. who
Meta
live in
AI
your
is
wall.
still for you. Yeah.
Thanks to everybody who supports the show by watching it on LinkedIn, or like Adlerful gave us a super sticker, or the folks on Twitch, like Zoe Brings Bacon cheering us with bits, RTRR following us. Thank you, everyone, for supporting us in all the possible ways, including patreon.com/DTNS.
If you want a recap of the week's daily, well, not daily, but weekly tech headlines with insights into how technology affects and disaffects African Americans, then do check out the Tech John. That's where our friend Rob Dunwood, Stephanie Humphrey, and Terrence Gaines dive into the top tech stories of the week delivered from points of view that you don't always hear about in mainstream media. It is a great show. They are awesome. They've got great chemistry. They talk about all sorts of good stuff. Please do check it out. New episodes land every Tuesday afternoon. Find it wherever you get your podcasts, or visit the Tech John. That's tech, JAWN.com. You can also watch us live Monday through Friday. We do it every day at 4 p.m. Eastern, 2000 UTC, and you can find out more at dailytechnewsshow.com/live. We'll be back doing it all again tomorrow, and we'll talk to you then.
The DTNS family of podcasts, helping each other understand.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.